Welcome, Ash Creek supporters. This is Gail Robinson, President of the Ash Creek Conservation Association, and I just want to catch up with you on everything that's happened since we got together in July of 2021. That was when we sounded the alarm about the erosion problem in Ash Creek with our presentation, Our Disappearing Sand Spit. Over the past year and a half, we've made some progress, and I want to share that with you now. First, let me say it's hard to believe that we've been going at this for 19 years now. We started with a handful of concerned citizens, and now we have a 10-member board of directors and over 200 members from Bridgeport, Fairfield, and beyond. We remain an all-volunteer organization with our operating expenses funded by your membership dues and donations. Thank you. I just want to quickly recap the challenges our tidal estuary is facing. We have a significant amount of erosion, including a 60-foot linear retreat along the southern shoreline of the barrier spit. That's the sand spit, in case you're wondering. We are trying to use the correct term, barrier spit, going forward. We've also lost 27,000 square feet on Great Marsh Island, where the osprey nest. There is more erosion along the fringing wetlands, which hasn't even been measured yet. Climate change. Well, you're aware that climate change brings with it more frequent and intense storms, like the 1-2 punch we got in 2011 and 2012 with Irene and Sandy. So, we have to anticipate there will be more storms like this in the future. Sea level rise. Our marshlands cannot keep pace with the increase in sea level. Marshes are capable of growing up and over decayed organic matter to gain height, but not at the current pace of sea level rise. Our marshes up and down the eastern seaboard are drowning, and that's just a fact of life right now. Complexity. We have complications that other tidal estuaries don't have. Our tidal estuary is located across both Bridgeport and Fairfield. The boundary line runs through the barrier spit and Great Marsh Island and divides the waters of the tidal estuary. We also have a navigable channel for the South Benson Marina that needs to be dredged every 5 to 7 years. And there is no governing body to manage all this complexity. But perhaps the biggest challenge facing us is the cost of tidal wetland restoration. We can't raise the money from local donations or fundraisers. Wetland restoration requires federal funds in the millions of dollars, and there is, of course, a lot of competition for that money. It also takes years of planning and years of implementation to do the restoration work. We are running out of time to save our tidal estuary. So what have we done? Well, we approach our efforts to save our tidal estuary in this way. We start with analysis and planning. We hire experts to identify and analyze the issues. Then the next step is outreach. We communicate those findings to our members, the public, potential partners through meetings, and also we use newsletters, social media, newspaper and radio interviews, videos, and websites. Partnering, well, starting with the analysis and planning, then communicating creates the credibility to attract the right partners for our projects, such as the municipalities and other nonprofits, so that we can develop projects together to solve the complex problems that confront Ash Creek. Finally, all of this analysis, planning, outreach, and partnering wouldn't mean much unless it results in action. We fundraise, coordinate with our partners, and manage projects to protect and restore the Ash Creek tidal estuary. We've done many studies over the years, starting with our first master plan in 2012. We also commissioned One Nature to do an eco-analysis of the Ash Creek Tidal Estuary that went back to the Stone Age. If any of you missed that, that was back in 2013, we do have it recorded on our main website on the front page. It's in 2 parts, so you can just go on our website and take a look at it. It's pretty interesting. We also created a shovel-ready restoration plan for the barrier spit in 2014, but we weren't able to get it funded. We commissioned the barrier spit analysis in 2021, which raised the alarm over our erosion issues. And currently, Brian Quinn of One Nature and his team are rolling out our new master plan, which takes into account sea level rise and climate change. We did a tremendous amount of outreach over the past year and a half. We tried to communicate the urgency of Ash Creek's situation through social media, presentations, videos, and websites. And we want to thank John Fatigate for creating an outreach strategy that included a social media campaign and a focused website called saveourspit.org, which you see visualized here on the slide. It starts with actually a flyover, a video flyover on the front page as you go on to saveourspit.org. And then we have a video right here, a very short video featuring Donna Curran as our spokesperson for Ash Creek, explaining the problems. And then we encourage people to sign up so we can stay in contact with them. And then finally, for those who really want to get all of the details, we've got a detailed presentation that explains all of the issues. Our outreach also consisted of a social media campaign and a new main website for Ash Creek. And you can see the Facebook campaign over here. And it got over 11,000 views, which is pretty good. And this is our new main website, which we needed a more professional look. And we needed a presentation that sort of shows everything that we've accomplished over the past 19 years. So that's this presentation that you'll see on our main page. So now the race was on to find the right partner to work with on Ash Creek's restoration. We spoke and met with over 100 people at all levels of government and across many different organizations. And you can see them listed here. We've got Fairfield, Bridgeport, Connecticut Deep, Yukon Circa, MetroCog, Save the Sound, the federal government, and others. In fact, Richard Blumenthal celebrated Earth Day at the Ash Creek Tidal Estuary this year, and that was shown on TV. So, you know, we have reached a lot of people. This resulted in a major partnering milestone being achieved, our recruitment of Save the Sound. Save the Sound only does about 12 restoration projects a year, so it's highly competitive to get their attention. They chose us because we had done the planning and analysis, as well as created the right partnerships with key stakeholders. So we had laid the groundwork needed for the restoration plan. On December 1st of this year, Save the Sound submitted a grant application for a $700,000 restoration project. ACCA will serve as the local organization, doing outreach and liaison work. Keep in mind, this $700,000 is just for a 2-year planning project to create a shovel-ready plan that will enable Save the Sound to go after large federal funds to do the actual restoration work, which will likely be in the millions of dollars. Our first partnering milestone actually occurred last year with the formation of a working group consisting of Fairfield, Bridgeport, and the Ash Creek Conservation Association. So there are 4 of us, actually 5 of us, that meet regularly. Tim Bishop, who's the Conservation Director of Fairfield, Steve Layden of Bridgeport Parks Department, Chadwick Schroeder, who's the Bridgeport Sustainability Director, Rick Landau, and myself. And we were able to convince the town of Fairfield and the city of Bridgeport to plant 42,000 culms of beach grass on the barrier spit as emergency plantings, and to pay for those plantings. These were needed in case of a large storm, as the plantings were rather sparse on the barrier spit. And we just wanted to make sure that in case, we had another big storm like Irene and Sandy, that the dunes on the barrier spit would be protected. Also, together we came up with a plan to go after a $1 million federal grant to remove invasive plants along Ash Creek and Jennings Beach. The city of Bridgeport took the lead on submitting that grant. We don't know the status of that grant yet, but we will get back to you on that as soon as we know more. We've been working on 4 major projects. The barrier spit, we just discussed the beach plantings, but we were also able to convince the municipalities to adopt hand weeding instead of using chemicals when weeds threatened to take over the new plantings. And we did that by offering to pay 1/3 of the costs. And we also had Oliver's Nurseries plant $7,000 of back-tune plantings this fall. At the Preserve at St. Mary's, this is a community project where we played a role, and our role is fundraising and project management. We just completed almost $5,000 worth of plantings this fall there. Water quality monitoring, that's our unified water study. We just entered our 4th year of participating in this for Black Rock Harbor with the aquaculture school students. And we moved up to Tier 2 in Black Rock Harbor, which is, a more difficult and complex water quality monitoring study that only 8 out of the 32 organizations that participate in the Unified Water Study are a part of. So that was a real coup that we were selected to move up to that level. And then this year we expanded into Bridgeport Harbor using community volunteers. The aquaculture school students still do Black Rock Harbor, but community volunteers do the water quality monitoring in Bridgeport Harbor. Finally, the trees at Boundforth. As you know, 1 tree fell into Ash Creek due to erosion, and the homeowner across the street took it into his hands to cut down the 2 remaining trees. We worked closely with the police to gather evidence that resulted in issuing a warrant for this man's arrest. Unfortunately, when the police came to arrest him, the man had already moved out of the house and was no longer a co-owner. He's no longer in Black Rock. So the police are not going to do a manhunt to track down someone for what's considered criminal mischief. But because of the expense of restoration, this is actually considered a felony offense. So he will likely be arrested the next time he runs a red light or is speeding. Meanwhile, the city removed fallen trees, and Oliver Nurseries planted 3 mature trees. More plantings will come in the spring. We've been pretty successful in getting funding for our projects. You can see the funding by project in this slide, and it's been growing over the past few years. We've got funding for the Unified Water Study, and a lot of that has come from Save the Sound. The initial funding came from the Santa Foundation, and donations, which we'll show on the next page. The park, we've gotten grant funding for that over the years, as you can see, $35,000. And then two other projects, the Barrier Spit back dune plantings, and we've got a total of $10,000 for that, and the master plan, which came from two different grants that total $30,000. So now we get to donations from our members, and we just want to thank you for all your donations. Everybody has been so generous. Thank you. We could not have gotten into the Unified Water Study without your donations, because we had to pay our way into that because we were coming in mid-cycle. Nor could we have restored the 1.7 acre coastal forest at St. Mary's, or replaced the fallen trees at Boundforth without your contributions. So you've shown your commitment with your time and your money. Thank you. I just want to take a moment to thank our hardworking board members for their contributions, especially Rick Landau, who is the project manager for the Unified Water Study, the Park Restoration Project, the Barrier Spit Restoration Project, and the trees at Boundforth. I don't know what we would do without Rick. Thank you, Rick. I also want to welcome our newest board member, Diane Volcano. Diane is a volunteer in the Unified Water Study, and she's been a community leader in Black Rock for many years. Thank you, Diane. And thank you to all our board members. We also want to thank everyone who's worked on the Park Restoration Project. This is not a complete list. There are so many people who have contributed, but this gives you an idea of who's worked on the project, and we thank you. We just want to take a moment to specifically thank Pete Spain for envisioning this community project in 2018 and seeing the project through implementation over the past 4 years. This has meant really hard work shoveling wood chips, watering through long summer droughts, and fighting the never-ending battle against mugwort. Thank you, Pete. Furthermore, we want to thank our Unified Water Study volunteers. Rick Landau is project manager. Kevin Blagis is a leader of this and boat captain. And we also have board members Jeff Burress, Michael Curran, and then former aquaculture school students who are now in college, Charlotte Hickey, Sienna Montegrano, and another boat captain, Gary Jones, and another board member, Diane Volcano, and a community member, Barbara Wells. And they all work on the Bridgeport Harbor water quality monitoring. Plus, we have all of the aquaculture school students and Holly Turner Moore, who's a teacher at the aquaculture school, who do the Black Rock Harbor water quality monitoring. Thank you all. I just want to mention an exceptional bit of detective work by our Unified Water Study volunteers who discovered a significant CSO leak. CSO is a combined sewer and stormwater outlet that can be a major source of pollution, with sewer water going directly into the harbor. This was reported to WPCA and it was repaired quickly. So thank you for, to our Bridgeport Harbor volunteers for the Unified Water Study. So I just want to thank all of you for your support and generosity. We're about to embark on the most exciting chapter in our organization's history, and we're so glad to have you with us on this adventure.